I hope this is the direction we're headed today. I will tell you this. Those of you that don't know me, and there's a lot of you out there that don't know me, I'm going to have fun for the next few minutes with you. If you don't have fun, that's on you. I was really looking forward today. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and I'm going to have a great time, and I think that's all our individual job. I hope I give you one or two things to think about while I'm sharing today. And hey, I'm going to throw this out there. It's a character trait. It's a word called empathy. Raise your hand. I've heard of that word, empathy. Well, empathy to me means, okay, you trade places with the person, you see. And you see, bullies don't have empathy. They don't think about what they say or what they do and how's it going to make that other person feel. They don't have that. Mature people have empathy. It's a mature character skill. Maybe some of you have it. I hope so. So I'm thinking about you. I'm going, if I were a kid out there today looking up here at me, what would I think? And I'm like, that scares the heck out of me. Because I'd be thinking, what is this old guy going to tell us? You know, he's kind of fat. Got a hole in my head. See, I taught elementary gym for like 37 years, and when they were little, they come, Mr. Kerns, how you get that hole in your head? I said, well, it was an incident during the Civil War. And then they just look at me and shut up. So he say, that's empathy. I hope you have empathy for me. Think about it. I'd like to be where I am right now and say, okay, you're going to speak to these kids after Aaron Thomas and Marcus Newsom. Because they're great. They both brought me to tears. They inspired me. You might be thinking, this guy is old. I could be your grandpa, your great-grandpa, something like that. And you think, I think we put that stereotype. I feel like I'm representing old people today. I'll tell you what, right here, right now, this very moment, it's the smartest, most intelligent I ever been in my life because I just heard two great speakers. And I'm smarter today than I was yesterday. And I ain't stupid. Well, I'm kind of stupid. But I'm smarter today than I was yesterday. So, again, the title of my talk today is called Character First, Leadership Second. I'll talk more about that. My name is Al Kerns. I'm the one you never heard of. Longtime teacher and coach. Coach Wigman told you that. In high school, I had the pleasure during my years of teaching high school that I taught psychology, sociology, and I think the greatest character development and leadership course ever. There's 36 schools here today, and I went down the list, and I think about half the schools here have this curriculum, and obviously then half don't. We're going to talk about some things in follow-up. For those of you that have this curriculum available in your school, get in that class. It's all about what we're talking about today, everything about that. If you've taken it, remember what you learned in there. Demonstrate what you've learned in there. Tell the other kids about it to get in there. If you don't have it, hey, talk to me. I'll be glad to talk to you about it. You know, as you listen to the speakers today, it's easy. We're talking about leadership. Ed Thomas Legacy Leadership Academy. Jeez, that fires me up. That's some powerful talk right there. And leadership, and we say, right now it's easy. You can be a leader. You can do what's right. You can, right now. But, you know, the question is, what are you going to do Friday, Saturday night when you're not here? What are you going to do? I wonder how many of you are that kid. See, this is how my brain works. When I went to a little college over here, they used to call it UNI, and I went there, and they taught me, well, when you become a teacher, you're going to have all these different students in your class, and they all have different learning styles. And you've got to find out what their learning style is, and you've got to teach to it. And I always said, because I was very teachable, I said, that's a bunch of crap. I said, they're the ones here to get an education. You are in my world for the next 40 or 45 minutes. You got to learn how I think. And when you go to your next classroom, you got to figure out how to survive in there. Now that's an education. Not us catering to all of you individually. That's a bunch of hoo-ha. That's what I say. So we're going here and we say, what are you going to do Friday or Saturday night? Are you that kid that's here today that got selected and some bunch of kids back at your school going, huh, why'd they get to go? I know what they did last Saturday night. And they get picked for a leadership academy? Uh-huh. Are you that kid? Well, hopefully today we're saying, if you are that kid, we don't want you to be that kid anymore. We want you to be better than that. See, as teachers and supervisors, we see your persona when you're here, and it's easy when you're here. The goal is to follow up when you leave here today and to have a plan and have some strategies to continue. So, giving you right off the top is characterandleadership.com. That's the website of the character and leadership course that we're talking about here that we use at our school, or that I used to use before I retired. So we say, you can use that as a follow-up. Anyone here can go to this website. Teachers, if you don't have this curriculum in your school, you can go to this website. Dr. Joe Hodel wrote this. You can go there. He does I call it a current events blog. And believe me, I'm not a computer guy. I'm not a blog guy. I don't twit face, none of that. So we go and we say, so we got all this, but if you go there, you can read this blog, and then there's discussion questions about having good leadership, good character, and stuff like that. Anybody can use it. You don't have to buy the curriculum. You just go there. It's a great website. You know, Ellie Thomas, if you go to the foundation, edthomasfamilyfoundation.org, you can do some follow-up. She puts motivational stuff on there. She does that all the time. Just little stuff as a reminder, because we need reminders. I need reminders, and I'm an old man. So we go and we say, character first, leadership second. All right. Now, as I get into that, the meat of what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to tell you. See, to me, this is like my great big giant classroom, and I'm still a teacher. And I'm feeling it. I love it. I love teaching, man. I didn't retire because I didn't like teaching. I love teaching. I love you guys. You know it. You know I love you. And we say, hey, if you come in my classroom, I got students there. And you took it. Bailey. What's the most important thing I want my students to learn? See? You can't hear her because she's so nice. She's one of those really nice girls. Think for yourself. Yeah, think for yourself. If I'm teaching you psych, think for yourself. If I'm teaching you social, think for yourself. If character and leadership, think for yourself, because that's what it's all about. You shouldn't agree with everything I say. You shouldn't agree with everything anyone says. I'm just pausing because I'm thinking, could I tell my wife that? Because I'm supposed to agree with her all the time. That's what she said. Well, you say, hey, you're going to find out you get married someday. Yeah, that's close you're going to be to a person. You're not going to agree with everything they say. If you don't learn how to deal with that, please don't get married. It ain't going to work. So he say, you all know this. You all know this. There are many kinds and styles of leadership. And I've talked to kids and they say, hey, does a successful leader have to be well-liked? Boy, has that word changed in my lifetime. The Civil War ended, and I went back to college and became a teacher. And when we talked about that term liked, does someone like you? And then I don't know if it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I don't know, the years get mixed up when you're old, but they say, liked, liking. You can get in trouble in college for liking the wrong person on TwitFace or whatever it is you call that, or Snip Snap or whatever you do today. I don't know what it is. So you go on there and you say, hey, do you have to be popular to be a leader? Do you have to be well-liked? No. I can think of people that were leaders of mine, and I didn't like them. But I tell you what, I respected them. And they were good leaders. Do you have to be considered attractive to be a leader? Do you know who one of the greatest leaders in the history of the world was? He changed the world. You say, well, I can't do anything. I'm just one person. I can't do anything. One person. I wish Hitler would have said that. He was quite a leader. I don't mean it in a positive way. Don't like the guy. You ever see that guy, though? Not real attractive, I don't mind saying. Do you have to be rich? Do you have to be wealthy to be a leader? No. The variations, it's infinity. I think anyone can be a leader, and I think at times everyone needs to be a leader. What's the most important job you'll ever have? I don't know. What's the most important job you'll ever have? For most of you, I say this. And again, you don't have to agree with me. I believe this, though, with all my heart. Most important job you'll ever have is to be someone's mother or father. And you better, by golly, be a leader. And you guys out there, if you make it, you take it. That's the most important job you're ever going to have. That's your job. So we go, hey, you're going to be a leader. Truth is, there are no absolute answers concerning leadership. You know? And we're going to give you stuff today, and you're going to write it down. I watch some of you, Marcus, isn't he? God, that Marcus is talking, and I'm like crying. I'm like, God, that guy's, he's good. But you know, you're going to write your stuff down. You're writing away, taking them notes. There's no absolute answers. It's great stuff. Don't get me wrong. And the stuff I give you, I really believe in, but there's no absolutes. Oh, hey, the goal today that I'm talking about is I'm going to say, here's what I want you to do. I want you to develop leadership with character. Leadership without character, to me, is a failure of leadership. And most of the stuff that I'm going to share with you today is from that curriculum that I'm talking about. I kind of stole it. I stole the title. Character first, leadership second. You know about positive leadership, negative leadership. All of your schools out there. There's 36 schools represented here today, almost 500 students. All the schools here today, you have positive leadership in your school and you have negative leadership, and there always will be that. There always has been that. But what is dominant today? You know, you think about that. Now, as I talk about character, I say, here's this. What I'm doing is I'm holding up a mirror for you to look in. And you look in that mirror, and then it reflects back what's going on in your world. What is your school? Is your school, you know, the teachers might not know this. They probably know, but they might not know. See, because we got some of you that we think are perfect. You come in and you fake it. And you're good. And you trick us. But your peers know. And we say, hey, is your school dominated by positive leadership or negative leadership? I'm talking about right now, today, this very moment. That's your mirror. What do you think? So we go back and we say, all right. Now, every school has one or the other, and it cycles. It's cycled here. Sometimes we had positive leadership. Sometimes we had negative leadership. I tell you what. Now, I know not everyone's here an athlete. I don't expect you to be. You don't have to be an athlete. I love you all, no matter you're an athlete, not an athlete, whatever you are. But I know this. When our school was dominated by positive leadership, we were really successful in athletics, and when we weren't, that's when we lost all those games that we go, we should have won. Yeah, but we didn't. That's when things go bad. Everything that could have went bad went, but there's a reason. What kind of leadership you got in your school, and what kind are you going to take back? And if it's negative, you're going to change it. I get sick of hearing all this stuff. I go to these meetings, they tell me, hey, they got these bullies. I ask our kids in our school, I said, do kids get bullied in our school? 100%. Our kids go, yeah, they get bullied. I'm like, well, what are you doing about it? Well, I don't know. Jeez, are you kidding me? We're a small, nice school. Everybody knows everybody. You're not doing, what are you doing about it? You think it's a good thing we have? Nuh-uh. What are you doing about it? I don't know. Great leadership. Way to go. Think about it. That's your mirror. You got that person, you say, hey, knock it off. Hey, you come sit with me. You eat lunch. Sit by me. We eat lunch together today. You're all right. Knock that stuff off. See, be a leader. Ed Thomas. Great man. This is all named about. trying to carry on that legacy that he had here at this school. He told me a long time ago, this positive and negative thing. He said, there's two kinds of people. Okay, here's your mirror. What kind of person are you? Are you a giver or are you a taker? You a giver or you a taker? When you go in your classroom in your school, some of you go in, kids say stuff like this. They say, well, you go to that class, it's a worthless class and dumb teacher. I say, well, okay. Worthless class, dumb teacher? Yep. What are you doing to make it better? Well, I don't know. Not my job. Great leadership. Way to go. What are you doing to make it better? How hard is it? Are you kind of person that goes into a classroom in your groups? Do you take? Are you a taker? Do you take all the positive energy? Are you the class clown? Everybody thinks you're funny. All you doing, you talking, you're not paying attention, you're being disrespectful. Are you a taker, taking all that positive energy? Or are you a giver? You go in your classroom, do you kind of, you know, what kind of school would you have if most of your kids went in class and they just had this attitude? I'm going to make class better today. Class is going to be better because I'm in it. It should be. You know, I asked all the kids once, I never had a kid tell me no on this. Now, maybe they're lying. I know kids lie to me. But I ask kids for my whole career, do you want to learn? I'd ask them all that. You want to learn? Oh, you AP kids, raise your hand. You want to learn? You want to know what's surprising? Teachers want you to learn. We're on the same side. We got the same goal. We don't fight each other. More than anything, we want you to learn, because all of us, how many of you out there are teachers today? I tell you what, we could have got real jobs, but we didn't, because we want you to learn and we care. So we go and we say, hey, I don't know what happened to my top. My top is gone. There's something very significant there, and poof, it's gone. I believe this, though. I believe that if you improve your performance. I learned that from Coach Thomas, too, many, many years ago. Sometime between the Civil War and World War II. I saw that when you worked with young people and say you're coaching them for football as Coach Thomas did, and he's not coaching them football, he's coaching them on character to be a better person. But you know what? When they improved their character, they became a better football player. I noticed that. Well, I said, hey, I'm all into this now. For the last years of my career, this was my mantra. If you improve your character, you're going to be a better student. You taking my psychology class? Improve your character, you're going to be a better psychology student. So we talked about character, and we talked about doing the right thing. That's what Coach Thomas always called it. Do what's right. Do what's right this weekend. Remember that. Do what's right. You know, I believe you got to define some of these terms, and Coach Newsom was kind of the same way. He said, we got to define these terms so you know where we're coming from, so we have a mutual perspective. Because we're talking about multi-definitional terms here today, terms like character and leadership. Now, right from our character and leadership course, if you would define leadership, you could all do it. But this is where we're coming from today. We're saying we're going to provide guidance and direction to accomplish tasks. We're going to be a giver. We're going to help move the group towards its goal. You know, you go in those classrooms, you're going to be a giver, you're going to make a class better. You know, you can say, well, that's not my job, that's a teacher's job, and the teacher's not doing their job. What are you doing to make the situation better? Be a leader. Make the situation better. Anyone can do this. It might be as simple as this: shut up. You know, I have grandkids. I have a little grandkid. She's 5 years old. She's got a twin. So they come up, and it's like wild stuff. They look at you like little birds, and they're talking stereo. They think alike. I said, you guys shut up. And they're like, Papa. And I'm like, what? They said, you swore. Shut up is swearing now? Why? Why would you take something that works so perfectly and make it bad? What is wrong with our culture? Shut up! Hey, it's almost perfection. Well, that might hurt my feelings and my self-esteem. That's what I say. Shut up. People said that. So he say, so I'm supposed to be a role model, right? You tell people, shut up, you're a bad role model. Shut up. I don't think so. You know, if you trust that person, shut up, you know what they mean. I'm not being disrespectful. I'd never disrespect my little twin granddaughters. Heck. So he say, you're going to do that. You're going to provide direction to accomplish tasks. And most of your definitions won't have this last part. And this is a fine piece of talk. To be a moral compass to others. Wow, I like that kind of stuff. That is great language. To be a moral compass to others. Oh, yeah. Hey, Miss Kerns, that's a nice piece of talk and all, but I don't get it. Well, it's not that hard. I'll explain it to you. Thanks for asking. Being a moral compass means you're a role model. Remember, character first, leadership second? Now, I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say this probably 100 times before you leave today. Character first, leadership second. If you improve your character, you're going to move your way to being a role model. Isn't that being a leader? You got role models in your school? You got them? Here's your mirror. You got them? Who are they? Why are they? Who are the boy role models in your school? Who are the girl role models in your school? You got teachers that are role models? Do you? Are you one? Do you want to be one? Okay. In sociology, we said, hey, leadership is the ability to have power and influence over others. And what we're talking about here is the ability to have power and influence. You're going to change their behavior, man. You're going to change the behavior of others. That is the ultimate power, I think, that you can have. To change the behavior of others? Woo! I don't know if I want to be a leader, Miss Kerns. That's kind of scary. Come on, thing. You know, character defined, we come at it like this. Character, here's what we're talking about. Character is the centerpiece of all positive character traits. I'll show you what that is in a minute. Put that on hold. Second sentence, doing what's right when nobody's watching. All right. To me, that is the most simplistic definition of character if you can't remember anything else that we're talking about. What are you going to do for tonight? Doing the right thing when no one's around, when you're all on your own. Anybody here going to the University of Iowa? Have you decided? Anyone? Top 10 party school, man. What's our state famous for? We have these great universities. Yeah, we're number one party school. That's where I'm going, man. Are you kidding me? That's the best we got? Wow. I'm not proud of that. That's not why you go to college. You're going to spend a lot of money to party? You're a moron. You're paying those people probably thousands of dollars an hour to teach you. And you don't go and do your best? See, think for yourself. Don't get me going on that. It must be forged through struggle and experience. That's another part of the definition. When most people define character, they don't include that. A lot of people have asked me about Coach Ed Thomas. And he said, well, really, what was it about him? I do know this. I describe him as this. He is the toughest man I ever knew. Now, when I grew up, being tough was pretty darn important to us. But we were messed up young kids. See, we thought being tough meant you could beat somebody up. We thought being tough meant you could intimidate somebody. And we thought being tough meant you could go out in the football field and put a slobber knocker on them. And then I met this guy. And he showed me what true toughness was. True toughness is character and saying, prioritizing your values, this is how I'm going to live my life, and then you make the positive character choice almost every time. Now, again, nobody's perfect. Coach Thomas wasn't perfect, but he's the closest person that I ever met. He's a role model, powerful role model, That's why we're doing this today. You know, struggle and experience. There's an old saying. You've probably heard it, but it's a good one. Adversity reveals character. I believe that. If you haven't had a great adversity in your life, it is coming. If you have had great adversity in your life, there are probably going to be more. No, you don't always know when it's coming. You know, this community you're setting in here today, the school district, 2008, we had an EF5 tornado. That's the biggest there is. You know, after you have an EF5 in your community, you get a little cocky. You're like, hey, you had an EF3, we had an EF5. Ours is worse than yours. We're worse than you. You know, you take pride in that stuff. But I tell you, that's adversity. That's why you're sitting here today. You know, our whole school was wiped out. Half our town, half our businesses. 8 people died. Nothing was left in half of our town. So we're picking up, we're cleaning up, we're doing it a year later. Probably the biggest role model in our community. Most respected man in our community, I would say. In our school district, certainly. My best friend gets murdered on this campus. That's adversity. And it revealed our character. And I'm proud of our school district by how our young people and our people responded to these events. It is amazing. And we're all going to have those times. And we say, hey, character is forged through that kind of struggle and experience. Now back to that first sentence. Character is the centerpiece of all positive character traits. Now, you can go and you can Google character, and I've done it. And you'll get all these experts on there, and they'll say, these are your character traits. So I'm using some of the character traits from our curriculum. They could be different ones. There might be some you like better. But I'm using these as an example. You know, these are things like attitude, preparation, perseverance, respect, honesty. You know, go on. See, character is not a singular definition. We can take each one of those as a part, and we study each one of those words individually for a week. I mean, I was teaching juniors in high school, and we're spending a week on one word. You don't even do that in first grade when you're learning language. There's a lot of stuff to know about each of these words. You guys communicate. And they got you doing this today, all these, computer techie people. I'm glad we have them, than I am. And you're doing your computer stuff and your phone stuff and whatever it is. And we say, you communicate more than any group of humans in the history of this planet. How are we going to top it? I don't know. It is scary. But what do you say? How does that meaning? My wife's got twit face. She's on there every night. Oh, did you know this? Hey, Betty bought socks today. She went out to Kohl's and she bought socks. They were on sale. Boy, dear, that's wonderful. I love you very much. So we go and we say, hey, as we look at this, these are what I call the words of great power and meaning. Words of great power and meaning. And these are the kind of words that I try to get students to look at and say, attitude. You don't just say attitude. Attitude is attached to an emotion. And when you say attitude, you feel it. How's your attitude today, Mr. Kerns? It's great. I'm pumped up, baby. I'm ready to go. That's my job. I get a good attitude. I get to choose that. That's an ultimate power. And if I write the word attitude, I feel it. And I tell our students, when you write about it and I read it, I want to feel what you write. And you can do it. You know, you look down these words, and I always, the word honesty. Everybody honest? You honest? You honest? So, go with me on this one, Zach. You know where I'm going when I get started. So, are you an honest person, Zach? See, now everybody there is going, ha 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 ha. Zach just said he was honest. No, I think you are. I never had a student in my room. I'd ask him, you honest? Yeah, I'm honest. You ever cheat on your schoolwork? Ruh-roh. He said he was honest, but he cheats on his schoolwork. Can you do that? Oh, yes. Because everybody does, it's okay. You don't have to agree with me. I disagree. I would bet a lot of money. No, I can't do that. I don't have a lot of money. But I would bet $40 that there are people in this school, from this school, that don't cheat. Because we talked about it, and I don't think they used to. But see, as we talk about that, we say, what's the circle of definition? Honesty, that's a character trait. How big is it be? Can you cheat and still say you're honest? I don't think so. You got to change. We can do better than that. We can stop it. See, cheating also includes, this is where you get some of them. You have all these good students, the really good ones, the ones all the teachers like, because they get good grades. And then the people go, can I copy your stuff? And they go, okay. You can copy my stuff. Yeah, okay. That's cheating. You ever do that? You're a cheater. And I think in order to be a good leader, sometimes you have to, kids today, they ask me, say, well, how did kids today change in the time you were teaching, Mr. Kerns? I'll tell you this. Some kids became unembarrassable. You do not want to be unembarrassable. You used to go out and you say, when I started coaching, you go out in the football field and you tell a guy, you're being lazy today. And that at you like he wanted to hurt you. Now, over the course of the years, it got to be, I would go up to a guy on the football field in football practice and say, you're being lazy today. And they're like, yeah, what's your point? Are you kidding me? You don't care if you're lazy? You don't care if you're a cheater? Wow. Wow, I am old. You're lazy. Oh, I don't want to be called that. That would embarrass me. See, that's the character traits. See, you got the word character, and then it's surrounded by all those character traits. That's what it looks like. That makes that a pretty important word. So when someone says, hey, I'll tell you what, you come in my class and you tell you, I've told some of you guys this, you know it, and said, hey, I'll tell you what, I had you in class. I loved having you in class. I liked what you did. If you ever need a reference letter, I'm your guy. You want me to write it for you. Now, I also had some students, they come and they say, Mr. Kerns, would you write me a reference letter? And I'd say, I don't think you want me to write it. Because I'm going to tell the truth. You couldn't get to class every day. You couldn't get to class on time. You didn't put forth your best effort. Now you want me to tell someone you're going to come work for them and work hard when you can't even get to school by 8:20 in the morning? I'm not going to lie. You better ask somebody else. But you say, hey, if I write this young person has great character. Do you see how much that is saying? Do you see what an ultimate compliment that is if you understand that word? Character first, leadership second. Become a role model. Leadership is the same way. You didn't notice the word change. Did you notice that? See, watch this. See, leadership, character, leadership. See that, huh? I can do the tech thing. Leadership, same thing. Surrounded by all those words. What happened to that, Kelly? Sunshine. Hey, all these are just words until you internalize them and you give them meaning. So we go and we say, hey, right there, what's your name? Terrell? Terrell, I'm going to ask you a question. Don't be embarrassed if you don't know the answer. It's like a really, really hard question, but I'm curious if you know. Are you ready? Are you afraid? Have courage. What's your favorite word? That's it! He did it! I knew he would do it. Every kid I ever asked, what's your favorite word? Going away, the favorite word of young people in America today is, My favorite word is, I'm talking about giving words of character traits meaning. What's your favorite word? I think that's important. What's your favorite word? So you're going to go, hey, what's your favorite word? I told our kids in class, I said, when we have our final at the end, here's going to be a question on it. I'm going to give it to you up front. What's your favorite word and why? And they come in the first day of class, we start talking about this stuff, and they're all sitting there like confused dogs. They're looking at me like you guys are right now. You know what you guys look like right now? I told you in the mirror. Here's what you look like. See, I got a dog. I always have a dog. Because my dog loves me. And if I have a crappy day, I go home, and my dog is like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, I can put my dog in the kennel, turn around, go back, and he's like, oh boy, they think he's been gone for a year. I don't know. But if I say something to my dog, and I do talk to my dog, and he goes like this. He tilts his head and looks at you. So do you. What's your favorite word? I don't know. I think you should have one. What's your favorite word and why? Now, I do this when I speak to adult groups. I speak to a lot of adult groups, and I said, one time I asked this guy, and I was always ready for him to say, because that's what most people say, kids and adults. But one time a guy came right back at me. I said, what's your favorite word? And he goes, baseball. I'm like, that's pretty good. I wasn't ready for that. That's pretty good. But you see what it does? You've never seen the guy. I seen the guy. Told me a lot about him. I asked a woman one time. So now I'm ready. Finally, somebody came right back at me and said, my favorite word is baseball. So I'm talking to this guy afterwards, and you know what? That guy loved baseball. Big part of his life. It's great for him. So I'm speaking somewhere else, and I asked this woman, and without hesitation, she comes like, what's your favorite word? And I think I'm going to get her. And she goes, she looked at me right in the eyes, and she goes, you ready for this? She goes, love. I'm like, whoa, what did I do? It can't be me. What are you saying, honey? No, I knew what she was saying. That told me a lot about her. I wouldn't mind having that woman babysit my grandkids, I don't think. That told me a lot about her. So we say, what's your favorite word? And so the kids would come back and they would go, okay, Mr. Kerns. Our kids were like this. Are you like this? Yeah, Mr. Kerns, what's your favorite word then? Why don't you tell us your favorite word? No problem, it's integrity. I got a favorite word. It's integrity. Integrity isn't my favorite word because I think I'm great at it. Integrity inspires me. Saying the word, I feel it. When I write it, I feel it. I love that word, integrity. Mr. Thomas was a man of great integrity. I don't know if I am. I try to be. I know when I was your age, I was not. Right before World War II. Integrity, people would say, integrity means honesty and living your life honestly. Yeah, that's good. But see, when we do this, we go a little bit deeper. We go a little bit bigger. We say, here's what integrity is. Integrity is said, I say these are my values, and that's how I'm going to live my life, and that's hard. When you pick the good ones, when you're going to live your life with character. If we took our example from Coach Thomas and we said faith, family, and football, that's the way that guy lived his life. You know how hard that is? Try that. Try saying this good stuff is important to me, and that's how I'm going to live my life. Try that. I challenge you. When someone says you have strong character, it's the ultimate compliment. All the character traits are considered. Oh yeah, we all have character flaws. We have weaknesses. We take all those words, whatever words we pick, and we say, hey, you got a weakness. My weakness is composure. I could have went to the Olympics in anger. Do they have that? I believe I could have medaled. When I was your age, they didn't like that. When I was your age, they didn't do things like this. If I were in high school today, like I was when I was in high school, people would say this about me. That Kerns boy, he has anger issues. Now, when I was in high school, they just hit us. And they just kept hitting us until we figured it out. That worked too. But we said, that's not nice. Okay. So he said, I did. I had anger issues. And you got to know what your character flaws are. You got to know what your weaknesses are. And you got to work on them. And thank goodness I did. I couldn't have been married. I've been married to the same woman for 40 years. I love her very much. She's the most beautiful woman in the world. I got to believe all that stuff. You do. You know? They say, why do you old people, how come you never got divorced? We never saw it as an option. It wasn't part of the deal. You stuck it out. You had integrity. I went into church and I said before, I made a promise. And they told me when I was growing up, if you break that, you're going to go, I don't want to go there. It's hot. You can't do that. That's character. That's how we were brought up. Whatever happened to that? I think that's pretty good stuff. So we say, hey, you got to keep your composure. How many of you, seriously, when I sit down and I talk to kids in class, they were always like, this was I would say this and I'd get a great response. You say, all right, here's what I want everybody to do. I want every high school student here to do this right now. Raise your hand. Okay, now put your hand down. Why are you so hesitant? And some of you even went, I ain't going to do it. Raise your hand. I ain't going to do it. Some of you are like this. Raise your hand if when you're in an argument with someone, you like to win. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I do. I want to win that argument. You want to win? I don't think that should be the goal of an argument. But let me tell you, start with this. You'll like it. Keep your composure. Stay calm. The other person is yelling and swearing at you. You make sure you don't yell back and don't curse back. Stay calm, talking in calm voice. Don't raise your voice. You'll win the argument. You will drive them crazy. And if you use that on your parents, don't tell them I told you. But it works. Stay calm. Stay calm. And I had to learn this as a school teacher. Now, this didn't happen very much. I can't really think of a case where I had a confrontation with a student. And if I did, I taught 37 years. I was undefeated. That's what I did. Kids messing around in my class, I'd like, everybody leave but you. And then I'm like, they come out all bloody, and I'm like, geez, they tripped and fell. I don't know what happened. I didn't have too many problems. So we go and we say, hey, what are you going to do? You keep your composure. You can't start yelling at a student when they're yelling at you, and you got to stay calm. What would our jails look like? I think they'd be a lot emptier if we did a better job of teaching young people how to keep their composure. Hey, how about that school in Iowa? I just read about it last Thursday, a week ago today. Did you read about it? School in Iowa. 16-year-old and 17-year-old got in a fight at school, started shoving, threw punches. The 17-year-old student is dead. They're just messing around. All the other students standing around, I'm sure they thought it was funny. Fight! Fight! Let's watch! Somebody's dead. And it was this simple. Kid punched him, fell, hit his head on the floor. He's dead! Think about how many families are ruined because somebody did not keep their composure. What do you think that kid, how do you think that kid feels? Maybe you say, he punched me first, I bet he's going to feel that way for the rest of his life. I punched that kid and he died. I don't want to live with that. I want to keep my composure. I tell you what, you got to think for yourself. Bad things can happen. What are you going to do? Are you going to go up to the dead kid's parents and go, my bad, There are some things you do wrong, and my bad ain't making it. It's not going to work. Consistency. Coach Newsom talked about that. You know, how do you respond when your character flaws surface? You say you're sorry, you look for, a way out, you move on. I mean, you don't have to have perfect character. A lot of times your character shows up after you do something stupid. And then how do you respond? But first of all, you got to admit it. We used to practice this in class. I'd say, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and after I say 3, everybody in the classroom to say, I made a mistake. 1, 2, 3. Oh, geez. Is that the best we got? You are the leaders of the schools in Iowa. 1, 2, 3. Now that's what I'm talking about. Was that hard? Did you get nauseous? I'm made. Why is that so hard? Jeez. Consistency. Character's a journey. What do I got, Coach? 3 minutes. All right. I'm going to do this. Character is a birth to death thing. Character first, leadership second. And I'm having a good time today because you know what? I hope I'm helping you think about this, and it's helping me think about this. You don't take a character and leadership course. You don't go to a leadership academy and go home and say, I did that, I'm done, I got it. It happens every day. You have to think about that. You have to work on that, and it has to be every day. I've always got too much stuff for the time I've got to talk. This is just the way it is. If you've had my class, you know this. And we go, this is my sensei. You probably don't know who this is because you're too young, but this is Mr. Miyagi, the original Karate Kid. He would say, Mr. Kerns, character not here, character here. It's how you feel. And we don't do a good job of teaching you people how to feel good. We teach you how to feel bad. We're pretty good at that. We can recognize when you feel bad. Oh, what's bothering you? Don't you feel bad? Oh, you should feel bad. Hey, do something right, feels pretty good. Keep doing stuff right, feels pretty good. You'll feel better. And it's a feeling. I guarantee you this, people. You can't buy it. You can't drink it. You can't smoke it. It's called living your life with character, and you will feel better. And where are people looking for it? All these people today going around saying, happiness, happiness, happiness. I just want to be happy. I don't care what I do. I just want to be happy, 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 happy. You got parents. I got parents telling me, I don't know what my kid's going to do, but I just want him to be happy. Are you kidding me? Can you define happiness? Where are you going to find it? In legalized marijuana. Jeez, what are we? This is the United States of America. Oh. I'm going to do this and I'm going to quit. I want to show you this one. I want to end with this. I had a lot of stuff. I do want to give you this. You can put this, because a couple of you out there take notes. I'll give you this. They say, Mr. Kerns, what are your main points about leadership? I will tell you this. I've studied this, and this is my belief. You don't have to agree with me. But if I were coaching leaders like I'm trying to help you people today, I would tell you here's 4 things to put in your notebook. You prioritize your life, you know what your values are, and you live with integrity. I think that's the kind of leadership we're talking about today. Character first, leadership second. The second thing I would tell you is leaders deflect praise. If they get an award and they get recognition, they give it right back to the group because they know they didn't do that by themselves. They understand no matter what you accomplish in your life, you never do it by yourself. It is not all about me. And that really isn't what our culture tells us today. Oh yeah, I did that. I did that. I tied that shoe. Now, taught you how to tie that shoe. Did you thank him? Remember that video Mr. Thomas showed you? Third thing I'd say, when things go wrong, take the blame. I learned from Coach Thomas, we had a bad football game. In the first place he would always look is he would look at himself and he would look at us coaches, and he didn't say, oh, the kids, they weren't ready, oh, the kids. He would say, we got to do a better job. We got to get them prepared. I learned in the classroom that when I had one of those classes, all you people out, I learned early by accident that when I had a crappy day in the classroom, it was my fault because I was unprepared and I was coasting. And I quit that. And teaching became fun. And it was my fault. It wasn't the kids. And sometimes I used to come in and say, hey, my class didn't go too good yesterday. I did a better job today. We'll be prepared. I tell you what, I'll guarantee you this. It will never happen again, people. So we go, we correct, we move on. And the fourth thing, build positive relationships with people. I don't know if you get that or not, but that's a powerful statement. Understand that if you want to help yourself, help other people. That's the way to help yourself. Help somebody else. Don't be an opera singer, me, 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 me. Be a person built for others. Be that kind of leader and care about people. I want to thank you. You've been a great audience. My name is Al Kerns. If you have anything to say to me, good or bad, I've got 2 email addresses. One is still on the school website here at Appling and Parkersburg. The other is just al@characterandleadership.com. Don't forget for follow-up, characterandleadership.com, Ed Thomas Family Foundation. People, live with character. Thank you very much.